You're going to hear from the same old tired playbook. A bunch of lies, grievances, and name-calling.
She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century.
My name is Danielle Pensack, and I'm an American political analyst, policy analyst, and I also love analyzing culture here in the United States. And I'm going to be watching parts of the Trump and Harris presidential debate. I'm really interested to see particularly what Kamala has to say. She's made very little public appearance since officially starting her run for president, and she's only had one interview. And in that interview, she said very little to nothing. She's been avoiding any public platform to speak on her policy issues. And it wasn't only until a couple days ago she actually had policy issues listed on her website. So I do want to see what she exactly has to say to Trump and also how Trump will address her. Trump had addressed Biden very placidly, very politely in his last debate with Biden, but that's because Biden is an old, doddering man who's not very cognizant. And Kamala isn't that. Kamala is young, she's cognizant. She is part of the Biden administration, so she should be speaking positively of his previous policies and administration, and also hold similar positions. So I'll be interested to see how Trump addresses her. So let's take a look.
National Constitution Center. This is an intimate setting for two candidates.
There's no audience in this debate, and this was the same thing with Trump and Biden. They don't want any audience. They don't want any loud noises.
So let's now welcome the candidates to the stage. Vice President Kamala Harris and President Donald Trump.
Well, Kamala's coming in strong. She's walking like a boss.
Kamala Harris. Let's have a good debate.
And she raised her arm first. So what Kamala did is that she raised her hand first to shake his hand, and that's a power move. She's doing it on purpose. She's trying to look like a girl boss, so she knows what she's doing.
For 52 years, they've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states. And through the genius and
Roe v. Wade was a hotly debated legal issue for the last over 50 years. A lot of legal scholars, a lot of lawyers have stated that it should be a states' rights issue. What that means is it's up to the state to declare, to legislate whether or not something should be allowed in that state or not. And abortion was one of those issues. And because of Roe v. Wade, it prevented that from happening. It federalized it. It's a national issue, and it should be a states' rights issue. And a lot of legal scholars, a lot of lawyers have articulated that. And with Roe v. Wade overturning, it's not so much about preventing women from getting abortions or not having control over their bodies, which you're going to see Kamala talk about here in a few minutes because that's a Democrat talking point. But what Roe v. Wade is about, it's about a states' rights issue. It's about giving states the right to propose whether or not a woman should get an abortion or she shouldn't. There's a lot of states in the South of the United States, like Texas, Georgia, Florida, that have really strict abortion regulations because the people of that area think it's right to do so. In other states like Oregon, Washington State, California, more in the West, they're for abortion. People there vote more democratically. They vote more liberally. That's fine. Those states, even up to 40 weeks, they legislated to have abortion. It's a states' rights issue. And a lot of legal scholars argued that for years. But Roe v. Wade overturned that. It completely twisted that, the legal framing of that, so that every state mandatory to allow for abortions. And that's just not right.
Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do. Exceptions. Very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it.
Exactly.
And for the first time, you're going to see, look, this is an issue that's torn our country apart for 52 years. Every legal scholar, every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote. And that's what happened. One of the most respected men, they call him a strong man. He's a tough person.
Strong man.
Smart. Prime Minister of Hungary. They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago, it wasn't. Why is it blowing up? He said, because you need Trump back as president. They were afraid.
Exactly. Why is it, and I ask this question to Democrats and liberals all the time, why is it that as soon as Trump left office and the Biden administration came in, we have all these international wars happening? As soon as Biden came in, Russia attacks Ukraine. You have Hamas attacking Israel. Two very specific areas in the world, may I add. And there's going to be more. China threatens to attack Taiwan, right? All of these things are happening because they know there is not a strong leader in office. Is it just a coincidence that Russia has attacked Ukraine after Trump left? I don't think it's a coincidence. Putin attacked Ukraine when Obama was in office and then when Biden was in office. Nothing happened like that when Trump was in office. And yes, Trump perhaps has a cozy relationship with Putin. He's had a cozy relationship with the leader of North Korea. That's true. And it is, it does look questionable, but he's a negotiator. You have to be able to make these relationships, these cogent relationships, in order to prevent warfare from occurring across the world. And Trump's aware of that. He knows he's a strong man, just like these other national leaders. And so he has cultivated relationships with them in order to prevent these wars from happening. Is Trump perfect? No, of course not. But of course, international conflict has occurred while he was in office as well, but not like to the degree that we are seeing it with the Biden administration. And it's really quite sad. It's terrible what's happening in Ukraine. I assure you, if Trump was in office, this would never have happened to Ukraine.
President.
Exactly.
But when this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes.
Exactly. If you watch the debate that Trump had with Biden just a month ago, Biden is not cognizant. He's practically dead. Do you know how much milligrams of Adderall they had to give Biden for him to even walk up on that stage? Do you understand how many Zyn pouches he had to put in his mouth in order to drum up a sentence against Trump? Biden was not cognizant. No world leader had respect for Biden. Biden was probably wearing diapers. He's not there. So of course, when you stick a man in office who looks like that, who acts like that, who's not even mentally there, of course other world leaders, other strong men across the world are going to take advantage of their positions of power. That's what Putin did, and that's why Ukraine is in shambles right now. Because of Biden. Yes, it's because of Putin, but it's also because of Biden by extension. Because Biden is a weak leader, and Trump is a strong leader. Trump can be obnoxious, he can be aggressive, he could be rubbing shoulders with authoritarians, but he also prevents bad things from happening, especially internationally. And Democrats just don't see it that way. And Democrats claim that they really care about all these international issues and what's happening in Europe. Maybe they do really care, but they're not really. I don't know if it's because they're stupid or they're willfully ignorant, but they don't seem to understand the pragmatic solution here, and what's necessary is that you do need a strong leader in order to respond to, have relationships with, and also stand against other strong leaders. And Biden was not a strong leader. He never will be a strong leader. He's not even mentally aware anymore. He hasn't been a strong leader for years, even back when he first initially ran for president in 2020.
Votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. But he got 14 million votes. They threw him out.
Can you imagine Kamala being a strong leader? Have you seen her public appearances? Oh, wait, we don't have any. She's only made a few, and she looks like a moron in every one of them. Everyone jokes about her because it looks like she's either on Xanax or she took a glass of wine before the appearance. I don't think world leaders will respect Kamala Harris. I don't think so. She doesn't come off as a strong woman. She's not Margaret Thatcher, okay? She's no Margaret Thatcher. She's not the strongest woman here. She is coming off, She is coming off strong in this debate, but she's also been prepped excruciatingly because they're terrified of Trump winning again. But they're not going to prep her like they prepped her here to stand up against Putin. I assure you, it's going to be a disaster.
That caused it. That's weak on national security by allowing every nation last month for the year, 168 different countries sending people into our country. Their crime rates are way down. Putin endorsed her last week, said, I hope she wins. And I think he meant it.
Putin absolutely did mean it, because Putin knows if Kamala becomes president, he can get away with anything, because Kamala is not a strong leader. Biden's not a strong leader. The entire administration has failed the nation. And it's failing other countries, our allies. It's failing internationally. And of course, she's going to have a glowing praise and endorsement by Putin, because Putin wants to walk all over her like he's walking all over Ukraine right now. It's absolutely ridiculous. And yes, Trump's also correct here. Democrats, even though the voters may mean well, they have promoted and they have brought in a regime that is actively dissolving the foundation of our country, economically and culturally, because they are contracting all these foreign countries and nations that have nothing to do with our culture and nothing to do with even our ethnic backgrounds to come into this country and just to take over, to completely rearrange these cities, these localities that are breaking down. What's happening in Springfield, Ohio right now with all these Haitian immigrants coming in is ridiculous. And you don't see it talked about on the news at all. They are eating cats and birds off the street, these Haitians, again, that are coming in from a terrible country. They're coming from a terrible country with a terrible culture, and they're ruining the culture for locals in their small town localities here in the United States. And Democrats want this. These people in Springfield, Ohio are going to their city council and they're asking them, please, can you help us? My cat has been stolen and it's going to be eaten. There's geese off the street being eaten. They're scared. One boy was killed in an accident because of a Haitian immigrant riding a school bus. He wasn't licensed. And so, these people in these communities are suffering and the city council does nothing and the news isn't reporting on it. Thank goodness for Twitter that we could actually talk about these issues and that it is proliferating and getting more popular because of Twitter. But other mainstream conglomerates and media agencies and other platforms like Facebook don't really have these conversations. They don't want these conversations. Why that is, I don't know. I'm not going to question it at length here, but it does seem like they want weak leaders.
It's absolutely incredible. It wouldn't have happened with me. The leaders of other countries think that they're weak and incompetent.
That's because they are weak and they are
They're
incompetent.
Grossly incompetent.
Grossly
and I just ask one question. Why does Biden go in and kill the Keystone Pipeline and approve the single biggest deal that Russia's ever made, Nord Stream 2, the biggest pipeline anywhere in the world going to...
That's a very valid question. Why did Biden do that? They are weak leaders. They don't really know what they're doing, unfortunately. And it's unfortunate that the Democrat base, they are mostly single issue voters on these issues, especially as it pertains to the female vote on abortion. But they're going to stick in someone like Kamala. Because of that, a weak leader. They're not thinking pragmatically. So what are my final views on this debate? Unfortunately, I do think Kamala did look rhetorically better and in her performance. Trump, I think, really got to the main heart of the issues. He really spoke to the issues affecting Americans today as it pertains to economic policy, to immigration, to crime, and even to abortion. He got to the main philosophy of the culture of Americans and how we are being targeted by external forces, how we are being targeted by the negative policies of the previous administration. And I think he really spoke to the issues affecting Americans, but unfortunately, your average American does not vote based on policy positions or in politics. They vote based on rhetoric and how the performance is done. Your average American isn't the most educated person, believe it or not. And I think that Kamala did come off strong here because she was very emotionally controlled and she was, frankly, prepped very well. And she's not ordinarily like that. Kamala is not the sharpest tool in the toolbox, like I had already said. If you watch her previous performances, she does not do very well. She doesn't speak very well. And she, believe me, will not come off as a strong leader. But She was prepped well for this debate, and the moderators were on her side. Once again, they fact-checked Trump, I believe, 4 to 5 times in this debate. They also interrupted him many times. They may have interrupted Kamala a few times, but they did not fact-check her once. And I fail to believe that Kamala was completely factual in this entire debate. Trump was on enemy territory, and even though I think he's aware of this, and my God, I think he's aware of this after going through the multiple legal issues and charges he's been through the last several years, he still finds it hard to contain himself, and he really needs to this time, because he's going against not just a woman, he's going against a woman of color. She's a minority, and here in the United States, we place high regard on those people. It doesn't look good when he has addressed her in the way he has addressed her previously, and talking about her ethnicity and whatnot. He needs to control himself, and I've been saying this, but he is a stronger candidate. He is stronger based on the relationships that he's cultivated with other world leaders, and also in his policy positions and how he wants to address immigration and the economy in the United States. But he needs to know how he's coming off to the American public. He did do exceptionally well in his previous debate, but that's only because he was against a very old, doddering, weak old man. This time, it's not the case. This is a younger woman. She was highly prepped. He was in enemy territory. All the odds were against him. Even if he speaks truth, even if he's completely honest, even if he's completely right on everything, he's going to look bad regardless, unfortunately. And so I think rhetorically, for your average American, Kamala won. I'm sorry to say, because I am a Trump supporter, but I think that was the outcome of the debate. A lot of major issues were brought up that I think were very important, like immigration, economy, law enforcement, crime, drugs, and abortion, of course. And I think abortion is going to be the deciding factor in this election as much as the economy is. And to a degree, immigration and crime. But I think economy and abortion are the two top issues that are going to affect this election. And Trump is a strong candidate on economy, but Kamala is a stronger candidate on abortion as far as the female vote is concerned in the United States. So depending on how Trump is going to address abortion, I think will clearly direct the outcome of the election. It might not be the sole contributing factor for Trump's win, but it is a good portion of why he might win. And I think he needs to really take that into account and really clear up his messaging on abortion. So overall, Kamala did rhetorically better, but Trump said more truth, and he really addressed the heart of American cultural issues and American political issues right now in the United States. That's been my final analysis of the debate. There have been other key moments that I just couldn't get to, but I do write about it quite a bit online. So if you do want to follow me, I do recommend you follow me on Instagram. It's @official Daniela Pensac. That's official, my first name and my last name. And then if Twitter ever comes back, follow me on Twitter. It's @Pensac Daniela. But thank you very much.